Welcome to Bodegas Tradición. My name is Ulrike. I will show you around. And finishes with the tasting. That's why you came to the wine cellar. Of course. But the best part is always the end. Our sherries are older than 20 or 30 years. And each of these casks of American oak contains more or less 500 liters of sherry. We have dry sherries like Amontillado, Oloroso and Palo Cortado. The dry ones are older than 30 years. And the sweet one is the Pedro Jimenez, or PX abbreviation, which is older than 20 years. The aging process always takes place in wine cellars like this. You can see the high buildings, you can see the big windows. Because the windows are open, we get the fresh air from the Atlantic, but we cover the windows to protect the casks from the sun. And you can see that the soil is a soil of sand, which is watered. In summer, when it's very warm, we just work with water. That's how we can get a constant temperature and humidity. So when we need sherry, we always draw it off from the last Soleil row. But we never draw more than a third. We never empty the cask. And the same quantity we draw will be refilled from the following one. And we always refresh the older with younger ones. And that's how we get a constant quality. We never depend on 1 year. The casks are never empty. And that's why we speak about the average age of the sherries. Casks are never completely full. They are made for 600 liters, but they never contain more than 500. There is always a little bit of space in the casks. Okay? The grapes we use for the dry sherries are the Palomino Fino grapes. These grapes are picked in the end of August, beginning September. The grapes are pressed and the juice ferments. When fermentation finishes, we have a nice, fruity, pale, white wine. Wine with 11 or 12% of alcohol goes off. In summer, it's rather warm inside the wine cellar. So we need the additional alcohol, which helps us to make the sherry stable. The wines which, after fermentation, are rather dry and elegant, will be classified as Fino. And the Finos are fortified to 15% of alcohol. And the other young wines, which are full-bodied with more character, they will be classified as Oloroso, and they are fortified to 17%. What happens? The Fino with 15% develop automatically a natural yeast on the surface. It protects the Fino from oxidation. And that's why Finos do not change the color. They are pale like white wine, and they are very dry due to the yeast on the surface. On the other hand, we had the Oloroso, which was fortified to 17%, and the Oloroso does not develop the yeast because 17 is too much alcohol. And that's why the surface is open, oxidation starts, the contact with the air makes that the color changes. We will try afterwards 3 different sherries, and I will explain you the difference in the tasting. Don't worry, you don't have to remember anything else. Just remember the 2 ways of aging, with the yeast 15% from 17 or without yeast. And then we will speak about the difference when you have the glass in your hand. They have 2 passions. One is the passion for old sherries, and the second one is the passion for art, Spanish art. And they decided to bring the paintings to the wine cellar, and since 2006 we are officially Museum for Spanish Painting. And I recommend to see the paintings in chronological order. The oldest ones are just here around the corner. You will see they're all religious. This side from here till the end is 17th, 18th century, and this is the 19th. We use a photo from 18th, is still by religious One is in the National Gallery in London, and the fourth one in the Archaeological. He gives a lot of importance to the queen because the eye automatically goes to her because she was important in this process of what they call la reconquista.
Not mass, that the doors are open.
It's very small, and I think it's nice. Are hand numbered, so very, very traditional. 7-8 months without problem. And as long as they're closed, so you can store them. The only thing is during years, but the only thing is that sherry does not age in the bottle. It only ages in the casks. Don't expect something more better, but it will be the same. Okay? The Oloroso, if you remember, is the one which is classified straight after fermentation as Oloroso by being fortified to 17%. So in the sherry, the yeast never appears. It's only oxidation. And imagine this one has an oxidative aging during 50 years. What you drink has an average age of 50 years. And when I say average age, I'm sure there are small parts in your glass right now which are much older. So maybe there are tiny parts with 100 years because it's always refilling and blending and you never empty the cask.
Tierra tan lejos, hay una Marseille, tengo una Marseille, que vendo ya azúcar, canela y café, que vendo ya azúcar, canela y café.